Welcome, rugby fans, to Rugby 411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata. And as always, this YouTube channel is created to create the buzz and the interest and introduce newer rugby fans in North America to rugby competitions all over the country. And right now, it is Rugby 7's season in the college world. Yes, rugby college is starting to become huge now, especially with the recent announcement of a Rugby World Cup being hosted here in the United States, both the men's and the women's. So obviously, we're going to watch a lot of the younger stars in the college and possibly even in high school and younger start to develop their skills, because now there is a pathway to becoming a star on the rugby scene in the United States. Also, too, if you didn't know, Rugby Sevens, and going back real quick, Rugby Sevens in particular is a different version of rugby. It is a smaller, I always joke, it is a smaller, faster version of rugby, which is catered more to those with ADHD or attention deficit disorder who can't pay attention to the longer game of regular 15s rugby. Rugby Sevens is only played with 7 people on a side, but on the same size field, so it's 100 meters long, but with basically half the number of people running around on it. Obviously, that means there's more space, there's more ability to score more points. Also, too, it's a much shorter game. Regular Rugby 15s is 2 40-minute halves. Rugby 7s, as the name implies, is 2 7-minute halves with a 2-minute break in between. So literally, you are done in a game in 16 minutes. So a lot of rugby action can be happen in one day. Usually, Rugby 7s will involve a tournament style where you have a lot of teams playing throughout the day. I will do a preview of the biggest Rugby Sevens tournament, which is the HSBC World Rugby Sevens competition, which will happen in Los Angeles in a couple months. But that's more of the pro level. And going back, if you didn't know, Rugby Sevens is an official Olympic sport. So a lot of college players, especially in what we're going to be talking about today, and what we talked about a couple weeks ago, because there was another Rugby Sevens tournament that just happened on the college level as well. All those kids, boys and girls that are playing Rugby Sevens now at the college level, have the opportunity to move and be recognized on the Olympic level and possibly play for the USA Eagles Olympic Rugby Sevens team and possibly make it to the Olympics as well. So, I mean, obviously that's a huge honor, and we're going to preview a huge rugby tournament that's going on, Rugby Sevens tournament. It is nicknamed May Madness. If you're not familiar with it, with basketball, there's the biggest tournament in NCAA basketball, which is March Madness. Similar to that, but with the rugby college circuit, it's May Madness because it takes place in May. May Madness 7. It is the Collegiate Rugby Championship. So, not to be confused with what we talked about a couple weeks ago, yes, there was another Rugby Sevens tournament, which was huge. That was the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship. Slight difference. Not to go into a huge tirade about it, there are 2 Rugby Championship tournaments. The previous one 2 weeks ago, the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship, is recognized by USA Rugby. This one has actually been organized outside of the college overall governing body, like NCAA. This was created, and it still is recognized as an official rugby championship tournament on the college level. It's the longest running college tournament, 12 years in the running. It's also now the biggest college rugby sevens tournament. This year in particular, there are 110 schools competing over 4 different divisions. You have the Premier Division, men's and women's, Division 1, men's and women's, Division 2 for men's, and then the men's small college schools. Obviously, we won't have time to go over all of the schools that are competing. We'll be focusing merely on the Premier level. But this, again, has been a long-running tournament. There's a lot of big school names, just like with the last tournament. There's a lot of big school names that you'll recognize if you're a college fan. college sports fan. And then, of course, there's also smaller schools. I mean, it's no different than basketball. I'm not the biggest college basketball fan, but when March Madness comes around, I'm filling out the brackets. I'm following the action. It's one of the only times I'm following college basketball. But there'll be schools that will pop out, like Gonzaga, who's obviously a basketball powerhouse if you follow college basketball. Duke is another one. If you don't really follow college basketball, but you follow other sports like college football, there is no Gonzaga, there is no Duke. So some of these schools that you'll hear me run off in the rugby world is very similar to that. I'll kind of also give you a little bit of a idea of where they're located, so you kind of understand where these schools are. And maybe you know one of these schools. Maybe you're alumni of this school. So again, the purpose of this is to showcase rugby at the college level, which America loves sports. A lot of Americans love college sports. College football, I mentioned before, the March Madness and college basketball are huge, attention-seeking, money-making tournaments. Hopefully, rugby will start to take off, and May Madness and the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship Series will become huge, huge events. I know the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship Series, which occurred 2 weeks ago, was a big success. That took place over in Kennesaw State in Georgia. This tournament is going to take place in the Gold Mine, the home of the Major League Rugby team, the NOLA Gold, in Louisiana. Just to go over a couple things, the reigning champions of the Collegiate Sevens, both men and women, is Life University. If you don't know, Life is a chiropractic school in Marietta, Georgia. They have a very strong rugby program, both men's, women's, sevens, and 15s. Life men's and women have both been very successful in the 15s world. Both have won championships before. On the sevens scene, in this particular tournament, they are the reigning 3-time champions. Both men and women have 3 titles under their belts. In the men's circuit, the biggest rival to Life is Lindenwood. Lindenwood are 3-time champions. Before that, Cal Berkeley, 5-time rugby champions. Cal has a huge rugby program as well. Dartmouth has won a few titles, and then Utah won the very first Collegiate Rugby Championship on the 7th scene. For the women, Women's Life has won 2 titles. Penn State has won a few, and then Army for the women has won the very first Women's Collegiate Rugby Championship on the 7th scene. So now that we know who the championship champions are, let's go into the tournament itself. As I mentioned before, this is May Madness. So again, if you are a fan of college basketball, the setup for this tournament is going to be very, very similar to the basketball style tournament for the NCAA March Madness. Usually in sevens, it's usually you play in pools and you do a round robin style. This one will be a unique style where it is a knockout tournament base. I'm going to pull up the Premier bracket, so we're focusing only on the Premier division. For the men's first, it's composed of 32 teams, just like with March Madness. May Madness has 32 men's team, and just like with March Madness, you have an 18 bracket representing the West, you have the representing Central, East, and the South. We'll go over each of the teams. So in the West, and they are ranked as well. So you have a 1 seed versus an 8 seed, 5 versus 4, so on and so forth. So again, very, very similar to March Madness. So if you are into March Madness basketball, May Madness rugby is very easy to follow. First, we have in the Western bracket, number 1 Indiana, number 8 Florida will face off in the first round. Number 5 Michigan's going to face off against number 4 American International, which is in Springfield, Massachusetts, a private college over there. Number 6 Virginia Tech taking on number 3 Dartmouth, the 2-time men's Collegiate 7 champion. Dartmouth, if you don't know, is an Ivy League school located in New Hampshire. Then number 7 Nazareth University, which is in Pittsford, New York, is going to take on Notre Dame College. Now, it's Notre Dame College, not the Notre Dame University that especially if you're a basketball fan, if you're a football fan, you're very familiar with. They are in this tournament. They're coming a little bit later. But this is Notre Dame College, which is a prep school that's located in Niles, Illinois. So just to let you know, That rounds out the Western bracket. The Central bracket, number 1 is Mount St. Mary's, which is located in Emmitsburg, Maryland. The number 8 seed in that bracket is West Chester, which is located in Chester, Pennsylvania. Number 5 is Minnesota University. Number 4, Cal Maritime, which is a maritime school, naval school, which is located in Northern California. Number 6 is Iowa CCC, that means Clinton Community College in Iowa. They're going against the number 3 ranked Iona, which is a private school in New Rochelle, New York. And then rounding out that bracket, number 7 is Air Force against number 2 Army. So a military service battle between two very strong rugby schools. And then we move to the east, where we have Kutztown, which is another big rugby powerhouse. They're located in Pennsylvania. They're going to be taking on number 8 Maryland. Number 5 Louisville going against number 4 Iowa State. Again, guys, these are schools that you will recognize. These are big power programs that do have pretty good rugby programs. Number 6 Northeastern, located in Boston, Massachusetts, going to take on South Carolina. And then rounding out that bracket, we have Fordham, which is in New York City, against Penn State. And then the last bracket in the South, you have your former champions, Lindenwood. They're located in St. Charles, Missouri, taking on James Madison School, which is in Virginia. Number 5, Clemson, going against Notre Dame. That is the Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. Number 6, Harvard, taking on number 3, Wheeling, which is located in West Virginia. And then rounding out number 7, LSU, the LSU Tigers, taking on St. Bonaventure, which is located in St. Bonaventure, New York City. Now, interestingly enough, Life University, the defending champions of the Collegiate Rugby Championship, are not in this tournament. The women's Life team is, but the men are not. There has been a little bit of some controversy with the prior rugby tournament, the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship, which, coincidentally enough, Life won that tournament. They beat Lindenwood in overtime, but they decided not to participate in this tournament. Lindenwood is participating in both. A lot of the schools that did participate in the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship decided not to take part in this tournament. Now, granted, again, it is also graduation season. Some schools are dealing with graduation right now, so that kind of took them out of the running. But there is starting to be a little bit of a battle lines being drawn between these two huge tournaments on picking schools to go to their tournament. Some schools are willing to play both, like Lindenwood, and some schools are not. So it's going to be interesting to see in the future how these two tournaments react to that and what schools are going to get invited to these tournaments from then on. So just again, Life did win the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship. Also, too, women's Lindenwood team won that tournament. They're also going to be in this tournament. So I know it's a little confusing, but just to let you know that Lindenwood women won the Collegiate Sevens Rugby Sevens Collegiate Tournament. They beat Dartmouth in that tournament. So now, let's before I move on to the women's bracket, I wanted to also point out the way that this tournament works. And again, if you are a basketball fan, college basketball fan, like I said, I am when it comes to March Madness, and I love filling out brackets. I know so many people love to fill out the brackets. They may not follow college basketball at all, but they're willing to fill out little brackets and just choose whatever team they feel could win. And, you might win a pool of money or whatnot. May Madness is doing the same exact thing. So if you go to maymadness7s.com, that's the website for the Collegiate Rugby Championship, you can participate in the May Madness Bracket Challenge. I have my bracket in there. What you're going to see is basically my bracket picks. Now, just to let you know, unlike with Major League Rugby, I have no idea too much about Rugby Sevens at the college level, so a lot of it was just picking who I thought. I mean, it's no different than college basketball with me. Just picking teams I feel have a shot or teams I'm familiar with. So don't follow my bracket, but you have the opportunity to fill out your own bracket. maymadness7s, go there.com. Participate. It's absolutely free, and you can win tickets to next year's Collegiate Rugby Championship if you have the most points and pick the most correct winners. Now, the way that this tournament works is, again, very unique. Even more unique than March Madness. You start with the premier bracket, and then what happens is if you lose, it's a knockout. If you lose, you're not out of the tournament. You just get dropped down to a smaller tournament. You move down to the Survivor tournament, and then you play through that. Now, if you get knocked out of the Survivor tournament, you drop down to the lowest tournament, which is the Challenge Bowl. And then the second round, if you get eliminated in the second round of the Premiership, you go to the Champion Plate tournament. So it's really, really interesting to follow where the people who lose, where they end up, because they're not done for the day. They can still play for a smaller prize, hardware, but they're still involved in the tournaments, and you make the picks for all those tournaments. So as you're filling them out, make sure you pick all the tournament winners and losers so you don't lose any valuable points. But in the end, just to let you guys know, in the end, I have Life going over Lindenwood in this tournament. I just feel that Life has a good shot at winning. Last year, Lindenwood did beat Life, and I'm sorry, I have Lindenwood winning in the men's tournament. I have Lindenwood going over Army, which is going to be interesting because this is actually, I'm setting it up for a revenge match between their 15-team counterparts in the 15s championship when Army beat Lindenwood in the semifinals and then went on to win the championship, beating Mount St. Mary's. So I have for the final for the men's, Lindenwood beating Army and re-winning the championship now that Life is out of the picture in this tournament. So those are my picks for the men's. Again, don't quote me for it. I'm a newbie on college rugby for at least right now at the 7s scene and the 15s, but it should be a lot of fun. I highly recommend you join in on the May Madness. Now, focusing on the women's. The women's bracket, a little bit smaller. It's only 16 teams, but similar format. They also have a Survivor Shield, Challenge Bowl, and a Champion Plate. In their 16-team bracket, on one side you have number 1 ranked Life, who were the runners-up last year. You have them going against number 8 Southern Nazarene, which is in Bethany, Oklahoma. Then you have Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, taking on UC Davis, located in Davis, California. Iowa going against Virginia Tech, and then rounding out Southern Oregon, taking on the Grand Canyon University, which is located in Phoenix, Arizona. And then on the other side of the bracket, you have the defending champions Lindenwood. You have the runners-up Lindenwood. Life are the defending champions. You have Lindenwood taking on Boise State. You have Notre Dame College, the one that's the prep school in Niles, Illinois, taking on Michigan. You have Clemson going against North Iowa, and then you got the Claremont College schools from Southern California going against Penn State, who, as I mentioned before, 2-time women's champions before. So in this bracket for the women's, I have Life winning, getting revenge against Lindenwood. And last year, Lindenwood won the tournament 10-7. But that was the fourth time that was the third time that these two schools have faced against each other. Life actually won the prior 2. So I feel that Life is more motivated. Life missed out on winning the other women's 7s tournament. I feel that Life is looking for revenge, and they will knock off Lindenwood to claim the title for the women's. You can also pick the women's brackets as well, so don't miss out on that. Again, check out MayMadness7s.com. You can fill out a bracket. It's a lot of fun. Again, even if you don't know any of these teams, I don't either as much as I like Major League Rugby. I know very little of College 7s, but this is a fun way to get involved in it, to have some investment in it, and it's absolutely free, guys. Plus, you still can win prizes, which is great. So, now, where can you watch this tournament? The beauty is, it is available absolutely free on cable TV. CBS Sports is airing May Madness 7, and then the Rugby Network. Again, guys, if you don't have the Rugby Network, I don't know what's wrong with you. If you are a rugby fan or if you want to get into rugby, the Rugby Network is where it's at. It is a wonderful app, absolutely free. It has every Major League Rugby game that you want to watch, all on demand. This whole season that we're almost near the end, you can watch every game of the season. You can watch every game leading up to the championship and the championship. And you can watch. They have the college championships that just happened at the 15s level. They have competitions from Japan with their Rugby League 1, and now you can watch the entire collegiate or most of the collegiate rugby championship on the Rugby Network and CBS Sports, as well as they have their YouTube channel that you can watch everything as well. So for CBS Sports, they are showing just a couple of the more important matches. They're starting Saturday, May 28th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Sunday, May 29th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., and then Monday, May 30th, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. On the Rugby Network, they're going to be showing, like I said, pretty much the entire day of action. Saturday, May 28th, starting at 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sunday, May 29th, 6:30 a.m. all the way to 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then Monday, May 30th, the final day, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, yeah, I'm going to put down a little blurb here that this tournament is happening this weekend, May 28th to May 30th, at the NOLA Gold Mine in Louisiana. Again, it's going to be a huge tournament for Rugby Sevens action. A great chance, if you are a college sports fan, to really get into college rugby. I highly recommend, if you have the Peacock Network, check out the last tournament. The last tournament was a lot of fun. USC won their division, which is great. But it was a great tournament to watch, a lot of fun. I feel this is going to be just as much fun, and the added bonus is the bracket challenge. I love brackets. If you love brackets, who doesn't love brackets? Is something to get you invested in, get you into. So again, this weekend, and again, it's a Memorial Day weekend. What else are you gonna do but watch rugby, enjoy some barbecue, have a beer, watch rugby? It's gonna be all weekend, May 28th to May 30th. Again, at the Gold Mine. It is the May Madness Collegiate Rugby Championship. Again, check out the bracket, maymadness7s.com. I'll put that link in the description of the video. And good luck. We'll see what the results are, and it's going to be a real fun tournament. So again, thank you very much for watching the video. I do hope you check out the May Madness tournament, and I'll see you on the pitch.